leader jersey ever since. But chipping away at him just a time bonus sprint at a time and a day at a time has been the Belgian superstar Eric van der Arden. He started out nearly 4 minutes behind, but on a daily basis with 4 stage wins, 30-second bonus each time, he sits now only a minute back.
Now time starts to play the role, though. Only 2 races to go, a criterium in Baltimore tomorrow and a time trial in Atlantic City on Sunday for the finale. Can van der Arden make up enough time in 2 days, Brian?
Well, I think it's going to be extremely difficult for him because there's not much time left, not many miles to race. The criterium in Baltimore is going to be a very tight, twisty course. It's only a little over 50 miles in distance, so the opportunity really isn't there to take much time. On the other hand, the potential for disaster for Lauritsen is there. In the time trial, however, I think Lauritsen's strong suit is going to be this long, sustained effort, and van der Arden may have some difficulty there.
We shall see on the roads of this race. The 1989 Tour de Trump is brought to you by the new generation of Oldsmobile. Step into the future at your Oldsmobile dealer. By Domino's Pizza Incorporated. Hot, fresh, delicious pan pizza. Nobody delivers better. And by AT&T, from equipment to networking, from computers to communications. AT&T, the right choice. More Tour de Trump action still coming to you live from Arlington. So please don't go away.
Here's some news the Noid won't like. New Domino's Pan Pizza. Fresh from the oven and delivered in 30 minutes or less, guaranteed. Domino's Pan Pizza. Thick crust, generous toppings, smothered with cheese. Sorry, Noid. Call for new Domino's Pan Pizza. Nobody delivers better.
Jay, today we're talking Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. Why'd you get one? The FB3 suspension, the new 3.1-liter engine?
Joe, let's go to the replay. The Cutlass Supreme SL beat the new Thunderbird and Cougar in 5 crucial USAC tests, including passing and accelerate.
Boom! Old 5 Ford Zip!
Gotta go with the winner.
Your father's Oldsmobile. This is the new generation of Olds.
Get cash back or 2.9% financing on any new Cutlass Supreme.
There's a tempting myth in business today. It's the siren song. Other long-distance companies luring you with promises of AT&T quality at irresistible savings. But it's just a myth. They entice you with prices based on a 1-minute call, but when you consider the average business call lasts over 4 minutes, AT&T prices are extremely competitive. And no one can match AT&T's dependability. So don't be seduced by myths. They're never what they seem. AT&T, call us. Find out how competitive our prices really are.
Welcome back to the Tour de Trump, live from Arlington, Virginia. I'm Peter Rogat with Brian Dreber. The Tour de Trump, a new race, one which has generated incredible excitement in this, its maiden voyage, so to speak, on the racing calendar.
Well, for 760 some odd miles along the route, Peter, honestly, it's been more difficult to find places where there weren't people and where there wasn't excitement. And each town that we finished in seemed to have more of that same excitement than the one before it.
And not necessarily were it just racing fans coming out to see the race.
No, I think there was a real mix of the curious onlookers that were turned into cycling fans. They couldn't help but be taken in by all the excitement that was generated out there, not only by the racers, but by the event itself. It really is quite a show.
Well, it's not surprising because as we have seen, as Brian and I just mentioned, throughout this week, this event has really turned into something that is very special. Media coast to coast have declared Tour de Trump a rousing success. And in the small towns it visits, it's already tradition.
Of course, we have our 4th of July programs and things like that, but this international thing is just beyond belief.
I think it's great. It's like a once-in-a-lifetime experience, you know. A lot of excitement. Lots of excitement. I'm just sorry I didn't take my kids out of school. I thought about it and then I didn't.
More proof that it's a success. The headliners are there.
We're grateful to Donald Trump for having made it possible. And it's a great day for Albany and the state.
Are you a bicycle fan, bicyclist?
I am now.
As for Donald Trump himself,
love to see this be the equivalent of the Tour de France. And if it is, we'll be very, very happy. And I think over a period of time, that's going to happen.
From the biggest cities all the way to the small towns, they're bidding for Trump.
The election in Harrisburg was not an accident. We lobbied for and negotiated with the Tour de Trump in order to bring the event here, and happily we were successful in doing that.
But the key to any athletic event's success, the level of competition, and the riders agree this is a great race sure to become an American tradition. At the news conference the night before the start of this Tour de Trump, Donald Trump said he could see the race going coast to coast, 3,000 miles. The riders might have a little bit of a say in that, but that certainly would be a spectacle that fans all across this country would love to see, what we here in the East have seen this week. Now, a stage race has changing emotions, changing races day to day. And let's give you a look now at all the racing we've seen since day number 1 back in Albany.
Test against the clock in Albany began the 1989 Tour de Trump. And a 24-year-old North Carolina rider for the Wheaties Schwinn team, Thomas Craven from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, attacked the dry course with a vengeance. Up the final climb, his finish time of 4:34.55 would set the mark to beat. For 7-Eleven's Davis Finney, who did not have the benefit of a dry course, he rode in the rain. Greg LeMond, too, with his speckled goggles, takes it easy down the starting ramp and on to the wet and slippery bricks. With the Egg Performing Arts Center in the background, a performance by America's most famous and accomplished cyclist fell short of the time put up by Thomas Craven, and the pink race leader jersey was his.
And it was on to road stage number 1, Albany to New Paltz, 110 miles. The rollout from the capital city of the Empire State. 114 riders promenading through the streets of Albany. Short hills on this course, and it was there that we saw the first breakaway. Here it is. The man in the red jersey is Vyacheslav Ekimov of the Soviet Union. Andy Hampsten of 7-Eleven in tow, and these riders were off away early. Hampsten, the climber, not many mountains in this race. He hoped to get away on the few that were there. Second breakaway of the day, Colombian fuel. But Ekimov would not be denied. Ekimov, whose speed earned him gold in Seoul in 1988, was in the leaders group as they approached the finale in New Paltz. Watch the rider on the left, Vyacheslav Ekimov. Easily beating Gert-Jan Tunis to the line. Ekimov winning the first road stage of the 1989 Tour de Trump. So our overall results had Ekimov in the lead, Tunis in second, Montoya third, Gary Mulder, the top American, 45 seconds down. Davis Finney, a minute 5 back.
America's greatest city and Lady Liberty played host for stage number 2. 123 miles, the longest day. Pomp and pageantry and a huge crowd. And the riders awaiting the starting gun, the man himself, Donald Trump. And it's off to the Lehigh Valley. The first 35 miles of this stage would be neutral. The riders enjoyed a sunny start at Columbus Circle. Then it's across the George Washington Bridge into New Jersey. Dorney Park finish in the roller coaster hills of New Jersey. A bulldog of an Englishman, Paul Curran, here in third spot, taking a sip of water, started a breakaway. He was soon joined by 7-Eleven's Dag Otto Lauritsen and Panasonic's Henk Lubberding. And then in the sprint out of the final corner, Paul Curran was not going to contest it, and only 2 riders head for the line. Panasonic's Henk Lubberding, 36 years old, has the better sprint, and Dag Otto Lauritsen settles for second. But the Norwegian paratrooper has the best overall time. Lubberding is second, Curran third. Best American, Gary Mulder of Celestial Seasonings.
And our tour of Pennsylvania would continue, beginning in Allentown, passing by Hawk Mountain, the bird sanctuary, Fort Indian Town Gap, before a finish 120 miles later in the state capital, Harrisburg, PA. Pro races start slowly and finish very fast. This stage was no exception. The riders content to take it easy through the bad weather. The strongest team, though, setting the sprint up. Panasonic setting up Eric van der Arden for the sprint victory he has known so many times in Belgium, his home. Van der Arden escaping from Davis Finney without a problem. And van der Arden would raise his arms high with victory in Harrisburg. Lauritsen still led the overall standings, though Lubberding second, Curran third. Van der Arden, though, now in sixth. Top American, Gary Mulder. Davis Finney in 11th.
Gettysburg, PA to Winchester, Virginia, and a former marathoner, Mike Engelman of Wheatie Schwinn, goes for a long solo breakaway about 40 miles into this race. To feed zone number 2, and it's time for a leisurely lunch. Sean Yates grabs a bag and looks inside, but watch the right side of the screen. The Panasonic team has other ideas. Mike Engelman's solo breakaway may soon be over. Alan Piper in the red jersey and the entire Panasonic team right behind him go for the big attack in the feed zone. Now there's no time for lunch. Miss this train and the race is over. Mike Engelman's long solo ride may soon come to an end as Alan Piper, Hans Dams, and Rick Van Looy, the Holland Express. They swallow up the young Californian. And now 75 miles have gone by. 20 riders are together heading for the finish line. A mile and a half from the wet finish line, Geert-Jan Tunis, wearing the Mountain Leader jersey, steals the show from the Panasonic team. And the crowd will have not an American hero this day, but rather the long, lanky Dutchman. With his hands in the air, he gets the victory that eluded him on road stage number 1. The rest of this 20-man group led to the line by Belgium's Van der Arden and America's Davis Finney. Dag Otto Lauritsen of 7-Eleven is the leader. And Soviet Ekimov nearly 9 minutes behind.
I tried every diet that came along and failed miserably. I've read every book and tried every gimmick. The truth is, I needed to change my mental attitude. With my personalized cassette tape and Fat Grabbers, the revolutionary new tablet that actually pulls fat from the body, that's the key. Along with natural foods, it suppresses your appetite, both physically and psychologically. If you're serious about losing weight permanently, call now.
You think we were riding too fast? Didn't seem that fast. Maybe we just looked fast.
Some of us look faster than others.
Howdy.
Is there something wrong, officer?
Road's closed ahead.
30 miles back. We've ridden 30 miles?
Doesn't feel like 30.
Not even sweating.
What are we going to do?
I know a road.
Hey, son, take the high road.
Only a select few can qualify for racing's greatest event. Top drivers battle at the Brickyard in the Indy 500 time trials. Sunday afternoon at 5:30 Eastern, live on ESPN.
The memorial, memorializing the men who died at Iwo Jima, and we're live at Iwo Jima Memorial Park in Arlington, Virginia. Hello again, everybody. I'm Peter Rogott, and this is our third and final ESPN show on the 1989 Tour de Trump. We've taken you through several of the stages so far. The next one, through Virginia, visited again cold, rainy weather. Brian Drebber?
Well, I think, you know, the weather around here for the Tour de Trump, even up through today, to a certain extent, has been nothing to write home about unless home is Northern Europe.
That's right.
The weather, it's been rainy, it's been cold, it's been wet, it's been miserable, but that has not stayed the excitement, I don't think, of either the racers or the crowds.
Certainly not, because we have seen some of the most animated racing by American amateurs in the race where the weather was among the worst, and here it is. Stage number 5, from Front Royal to Charlottesville, Virginia. A course winding its way through the Shenandoah River Valley, through winery country, along the Blue Ridge Mountains, with a 2,300-foot climb at Thornton Gap. The finish would be before students at the University of Virginia. Another cold, wet morning, reason enough for riders to huddle together at the start. But some in this field seem right at home in the Virginia springtime. Among them, Dag Otto Lauritsen enjoying the spotlight generated by his pink race leader's jersey and strong 7-Eleven supporting cast. Greg LeMond says he's beginning to feel better, but continues to face questions about his team.
I think it's not as easy as people think just to throw together a team and race as well as a team that's been together for 6 years. And I think we're doing extremely well. I think in other races we've challenged 7-Eleven, and Tour of Americas we beat them. Tour of Texas we would have beat them, but it came down to just one last race. We were leading, and this race it's been somewhat of a disaster for the team itself, the riders and myself. Everything's been going wrong, and but it's not the first time it's happened in my career. It's been I've seen that happen many times in other teams, and 7-Eleven's had those experiences too. And their day is right now, but who knows what's going to happen in the Tour de France or other races.
For the amateurs, men like Rishi Grewal, Alexi's little brother, a commitment today to take control back from the opportunistic pros.
We're going to win today.
All right, good. Hey, if we win, you can put it on, huh?
All righty. If you do it, we'll do it, Rishi. But you wonder, can the amateurs go head-to-head with the most powerful cash men in the world? The beauty in cycling is that answers lie on the road. So watch now the man on the right of your screen, the man with ambition in his legs. The self-same Rishi Grewal. The starting line sprint is an amateur trick. He's trying it today against the best pros, and he's got nothing to lose. Hank Lubberdink in second, content to wait. Andy Hampton from 7-Eleven as well. His man Alex Steeda is with Grewal up ahead. Through the misty morning. Grewal pushing the tempo up the climb. He said he would win. Now he gets to prove it, and his team car gets permission to move ahead for a concert. From Albuquerque, New Mexico is in the breakaway group. Grewal, though, powering his way to the front. He wants this breakaway to make time on the field. He wants to get to Charlottesville way ahead of the rest.
Pull only to the top of the field because they set the speed up for the point chances. From the top of the field, don't work, okay?
Go hard to the top of the hill and then don't work, said Coach Andrej Beck. help for Graywall in the breakaway. His teammate, Paul McCormick. Now they have 2 men out of 4. They can control the breakaway, do as they please. Paul McCormick is like Graywall. Lots of promise, lots to learn. Boys, class is in session. McCormick, too, has an older brother who rides for Coors Light. John Fry helping. The 3 amateurs will ride together, and Fry's specialty is time trialing. That will help quite a bit in this breakaway. But the seasoned 7-Eleven rider Alex Steeda is along, and the pride of Coquitlam, British Columbia should be right at home for the cold, wet fog up ahead. Say hello to Thornton Gap. Tried this tactic in the Coors Classic last August. It didn't work then, but that was then. Alex Steeda, the first North American ever to hold the yellow jersey in the Tour de France.
And she does to all. Okay, so I'm going to tell them, go to the first sprint and see how Steeda is going for the sprint.
And the 2 amateur coaches plot strategy, Beck for Crest and the U.S. car. Rishi Graywall will go ahead trying to get the sprint seconds, the sprint points. But Alex Steeda, that's his specialty. We'll have to wait and see. And there he goes. Up the hill, Graywall gets the bonus. Fry and the others can only watch and shake their heads. Now the descent, because what goes up must come down. This will be torturous and dangerous on slick roads in cold weather. Bike handling skills an absolute must for our breakaway group. The other, the breakaways, have split up down the mountain, going 40, maybe 50 miles an hour. The lone figure way up ahead, the tiny figure, is our leader, Rishi Graywall.
All vehicles stay left, all vehicles stay left.
Good line.
Right, I'm sorry, stay right.
It's dry. Look. Stay away from the painting line.
Yeah. Did you copy that one?
Go, Rishi, go.
Keep the cars back. If somebody goes down, I'll never see him.
Jay, today we're talking Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. Why'd you get one? The FB3 suspension, the new 3.1-liter engine?
Joe, let's go to the replay. The Cutlass Supreme SL beat the new Thunderbird and Cougar in 5 crucial USAC tests, including passing and acceleration.
Boom! Old 5 Ford Zip!
Gotta go with the winner.
Your father's Oldsmobile. This is the new generation of Olds.
Get cash back or 2.9% financing on any new Cutlass Supreme.
Here's some news the Noid won't like. New Domino's Pan Pizza. Fresh from the oven and delivered in 30 minutes or less, guaranteed. Domino's Pan Pizza. Thick crust, generous toppings, smothered with cheese. Sorry, Noid. Call for new Domino's Pan Pizza. Nobody delivers better.
We're at mile 66, and the breakaways have been absorbed. When the fastest cash men in the ranks want to go at it, they go at it. Look at the front, 7-Eleven, red and green, 1, 2, 3, 4, defending the pink jersey of leader Dag Otto Lorentzen. At mile 90 now, here's another another man with ambition, an amateur, number 68 from the Celestial Seasonings team, John Tomac. He of mountain bike fame. Tomac, with 15 miles to go, hopes to stay away. But it will not happen. The Colombian Alvaro Mejia is along with him, and other riders too. Nearing the end of the race, though, the Panasonic team, the strongest team in the race, one of the strongest in the world, determined to reel in the breakaways and set up their sprinter. And that's Eric van der Arden on the left of your screen. The man who would be champion. Davis Phinney looks back, van der Arden on his wheel. And look who's at the front of the pack, Greg LeMond trying an attack. Feeling better, obviously. At the finish line, students from the University of Virginia await the sprint.
Cars coming through. Wind it up. Scott Gauguin would have been a hero, but not with this field. They're on the home stretch.
Davis Phinney heading for the line on the right, van der Arden behind him.
Panasonic, van der Arden, 7-11.
And the Belgian does it again. Second stage win in this Tour de Trump for Eric van der Arden.
Has picked up 30 more seconds of bonus. Davis Phinney gets second. He picks up 20.
And Brian is with our winner.
Eric, you're doing one sprint at a time, 1/2 minute at a time, and slowly moving to the front.
Yeah, maybe it's the race 1 week too short for me for winning the whole stage.
So you think you'll run out of days before you run out of sprint?
Yeah, maybe it's tomorrow. It's a hard day with in the morning the stage and in the afternoon the time travel. Maybe I could take a lot of seconds again.
Yeah, I just couldn't do it. You know, there's too many guys chasing. Too many. You probably saw, you know, there's 20, 30 guys going probably 35 miles an hour for half an hour to catch us. So we gave it our best shot and, you know, tried to make the pros chase, which they had to. I hope they're a little bit tired.
Not too tired to hold up the arm with the flowers and the victory. Eric van der Arden. But Grewal gets solace for his ride.
Making the presentation of the most aggressive racer jersey.
The most aggressive racer of the day.
Operating officer of Trump Plaza, one of the presenting sponsors of Tour de Trump. All right, Rishi. He will wear that jersey.
And the man who finished with the pack retains the race lead. Dag Otto Lauritsen, 17 seconds ahead of Lubberding. Van der Arden now only 2:09 back. Phinney in 5th. Mike Engelman in 6th. And look at the rest of the 7-11 team. They're supporting their leader in pink, Dag Otto Lauritsen. And we'll be back.
Jay, today we're talking Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. Why'd you get one? The FB3 suspension, the new 3.1-liter engine?
Joe, let's go to the replay. The Cutlass Supreme SL beat the new Thunderbird and Cougar in 5 crucial USAC tests, including passing and accelerate.
Boom! Old 5 Ford Zip!
Gotta go with the winner.
Your father's Oldsmobile. This is the new generation of Olds.
Get cash back or 2.9% financing on any new Cutlass Supreme.
I send you for a Bud Light, and you bring back...
Well, if you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
So, there are no men here, there's an unlimited supply of Bud Light, and we can never leave.
Correct.
Because everything else is just a light.
We can live with that.
Yeah.
It's time to play ball. Sunday nights, ESPN puts you in a box seat for live college baseball featuring the nation's top teams and heaviest hitters. 2 explosive offenses battle in a heated rivalry as Arizona State faces Arizona on Sunday night college baseball at 7:30 Eastern live on ESPN.
begins in upstate New York and ends by the Jersey Shore. Between 900 miles of championship racing, Tour de Trump, the dawn of an American classic.
You can watch the finale of the Tour de Trump on NBC Sports this Sunday, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time from Atlantic City. For so many years, the story of American cycling has been the 7-Eleven team. They have the riders that everybody knows. They have the riders who are in the Olympics, and they have done the best here in the U.S., and they've gone over to Europe and competed very well against the Europeans. But all that changed this year, or so we thought, because there was a new team, Coors Light, which had the horsepower and Brian the money to compete with 7-Eleven.
Well, I think it takes more than that. You know, the 7-Eleven team has been together for so long that they know each other, just like a team that's played together or musicians that jam together all the time. It's an unspoken kind of communication that I think will take a while to build for the Coors Light team.
And what you're telling is what we know by now is that the Coors Light team, at least in this race, has not done so well as 7-Eleven, certainly, but more importantly, as well as the expectations had them. Take a look at the most familiar sight in top-level American cycling, the red and green of Team 7-Eleven. They've won here and abroad and lay rightful claim to the title America's Team. Alexei Greywall and his new team of strong challengers have had a rough go of it at Trump. Sprinter Michael Zanoli has a second but no first places. Greg Orovitz started strongly but was set back by illness and quit the race after stage 3 in Harrisburg. And Greg LeMond is also fighting off sickness. Tour de Trump has been a learning process for everyone.
It's not as easy as people think just to throw together a team and race as well as a team that's been together for 7 years, 6 years. And I think we're doing extremely well. I think in other races we've challenged 7-Eleven. In Tour of Americas we beat them. Tour of Texas we would have beat them, but it came down to just one last race. We were leading.
There was great pressure on LeMond to do well in this race. This is the season of his comeback. A comeback after an accidental shooting and a leg injury. A comeback LeMond's European detractors say will not succeed. It's still early, though, in LeMond's 1989 schedule, but clearly Tour de Trump expectations have not been met.
I feel sorry for Greg. You just can't buy a team. You know, you can't have an Insta team. It doesn't work. It's never worked for any pro sports organization. You know, great players don't necessarily make a great team, and we've stuck it out and been together a long time, and that's been a value.
A long time together, augmented this year by British strongman Sean Yates. The 7-Elevens include the U.S. national champion, Ron Kiefel in the blue and white jersey, Canadian Olympian Alex Steeda, climbing ace Andy Hampston, and in the pink jersey, the race leader's jersey that he picked up on just the second road stage, the Norwegian rider Dag Otto Lauritzen, a 1984 bronze medalist in Los Angeles. Alexei Greywall and company have labored throughout the miles. The Coors Brewery's $1 million-plus investment has this week resulted in little more than the publicity of expectation. Greywall is already looking ahead.
It's a very important race for us, and everyone really has to understand that this has happened to all the teams in the past, and that it happened here for us is, it's not very much fun, but it's a long season, and, we intend to, get back up and do our best in the rest of the races.
The highlights of Greg LeMond's career, what you don't see is that he won a world championship in 1983 in Switzerland, second in the Tour de France in 1985, 1986 the first American, the first non-European to win the Tour de France, 1989 the next time that he has really raced significantly, a third place in the Tour of Americas. Greg LeMond had an injury, an accidental shooting 2 years ago. He's joined us now live. Thank you very much for joining us. We know it's late at night for you. Question personally, we've talked about the team. How's your development? Are you on track with your comeback?
Yeah, I've raced quite well as I've ever have in March and April this spring. And I feel it was a significant results I had early season. I was among the best in Europe, and only in mid-April I got sick, and there was a little setback in training, and I felt a little sick also at the start of this race, and I've been struggling. And now, finally, at the end of the race, I'm starting to feel much better, kind of like myself.
Greg, I have to ask you, though, you know, in spite of sickness and illness, do you think you're on track for a late season really comeback? We know that you're a guy that sort of blooms late in the season, and is the Tour de Trump a step to the Tour de France again?
Well, yes, that's in all the other years before my injury. I never really raced well until June, July, or August, and I felt even with being healthy, I've had bad moments like this as a Tour de Trump in other years, and I know that I'm going to at one point in the year I'm going to come up on top. And I hope it's around July for the Tour de France.
I have to ask you, is management going to let this team stay together long enough for you guys to get a few years under your belts and figure out how to work together?
I sure hope so. I think Coors Light has been very good to us, and they've been great for the sport. They sponsored the Coors Classic in Colorado. They've been longtime supporters of cycling, and I think they know cycling well enough to know that you don't have results in every race, and we have had quite good results this season, and I expect us to do quite well this end of the year.
So things are looking up.
Oh yeah, I believe so. I haven't really talked specifically with the top guys in Coors, but I believe that we've had a lot of good press coverage and a lot of positive press also, and I think that the season's only started. It's only May. We have a lot of good races. Although this was our main goal for the season, there's a lot of good teams in here. 7-Eleven's racing incredibly well. Panasonic and PDM, they're all the best teams in the world, so to beat them and be slightly off is very difficult.
Good to see you back.
Thank you.
Well, the other question, we'll ask it for Donald Trump, who couldn't be here tonight. How do you like his race? Would you like to see it continue for many years?
Well, it's the most impressive race I've seen ever organized. It's been the first-class race for the athletes as far as hotels, organization is concerned. The courses and the race has been as difficult as any race I've raced this year in Europe, and for me, it's the future of cycling. I wish we could race this way all year long. I'd like to stay here and not go back to Europe.
Well, hopefully we'll be talking to you again next May here at the Tour de Trump. Greg LeMond, thanks for joining us. Thanks very much. All right, we'll continue with more action live from Arlington, Virginia, and the Tour de Trump, so please don't go away.
RX-7 convertible. Think of it as the consummate wind instrument.
The Tour de Trump, the best of international cycling brought to America. Endurance, color, and the thrill of winning. You too can be a part of this inaugural American classic with the Tour de Trump souvenir collection. You get this colorful souvenir program, official t-shirt, and hat. A $33 value for the low price of $19.95 plus shipping. To order by credit card, call 1-800-346-9400. That's 1-800-346-9400. Join the excitement of the inaugural Tour de Trump. Call now.
You're looking at a home fire that never happened. Because Liberty Mutual Insurance continually works to prevent fires, even to giving our homeowners special discounts when they install smoke detectors. Caring for people is why America believes in liberty.
Lovely evening.
America believes in liberty. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
If you don't like the looks of your car, shoot it with Son of a Gun from STP. Shoot the dash, seats, tires, and roof. Son of a Gun protector. Man, what a difference.
The product. The vehicles. The testing grounds. The results. STP oil treatment is the edge.
We're back live at Iwo Jima Memorial Park in Arlington, Virginia, right across the river from the Washington Monument, and we're talking about the 1989 Tour de Trump bicycle race right here on ESPN. We're now deep in the heart of Virginia, and we visit another state capital in the stage that went from Charlottesville, where the University of Virginia is, to the state capital in Richmond.
The final road stage, and under sunny skies, and it's uncanny. Every time Donald Trump showed up for a race, the sun came out, and certainly in Richmond it was no exception.
Well, Donald Trump certainly controls many things here, but we can't say that he controlled the weather. The racing, though, was fantastic. No exception in Charlottesville to Richmond. 9 a.m., strategy time for the team defending the race leader's jersey, and a chance to bolster the confidence of Davis Finney, the sprinter who hasn't won one yet.
It was a really good move, Alex, on your part. I also think Davis is starting to sprint better every time he's another half a wheel closer to Van der Arden. Get him! And one of the next two times he's by him by half a wheel. So
you should not do any work in the.
I know, I can't help it.
Stay with me, just stay with me, and let the other guys work.
Keep an eye on the group that goes away. If another group like Alex goes, that's great. You know, if we can get one guy up there, no Panasonics, you know some other teams, they'll chase, they'll try to bring it back. When we get to this time bonus sprint, if the break is away, let them gobble the break up. If you're in that break, take the sprint if you can, and then sit up and come back to the group. We're going to skip the second feed zone, which is at 70 miles. Now, if you decide you want to feed, you raise your hand and I'll come up in the car. I'll have to feed in the car. But don't even bother trying to stop at the feed zone. Because I think since that's happened already, I think some other teams think it's, oh wow, this is cool, let's try it ourselves.
Skull session over. Time to go to work. Seemingly a million little parts that work together to stage an event like this. We at ESPN stopping at nothing in the pursuit of sports journalism. We even snuck in a last-minute special cycling correspondent.
Like a medium?
A medium. Tour de Trump. You've seen the race. Now the T-shirt.
All right, thank you.
You want excitement? Ride a motorcycle down a mountain shooting a 25-pound camera. The Gray Wall Le Mans tandem was supposed to create excitement. Oh well, there will be other races for the would-be challengers to 7-Eleven dominance. The new race strongman, Van der Arden, third now, moving on second.
Oh, Erik, he's very fast in time trial, and in the sprint he take a lot of seconds. This, I think, he's the best rider of us.
Well, thank you, Henk. Erik is pretty satisfied, too. But one wonders if his Dutch team is getting help from PDM.
No, I don't think so. I think we are always enemies. PDM and Panasonic are always more fighting with each other than that they're working together.
And the next installment of our soap opera, Who's Working for Whom, is ready to run. 97 miles away lies the finish in Richmond. In between, who knows?
John Walshaw of the Bilton team knows that in order to win, you've got to try to get away. This 5-time British champion goes it alone early in the race, only to be caught by the charging field. Panasonic sends Guy Newlands up the road. He's not a danger to the general classification lead. Perhaps bait for the others, or a chance to move up. But in turn, he too is caught by the group containing the race leader, the man in the pink jersey, Dag Otto Lorentzen. A little later in the race, a breakaway, powered by the Soviets, 2 young ones, Orlov and Nelubin, an Olympic veteran at age 19.
A field of riders trying to break Van der Arden's win streak.
There were some who said we didn't have the right stuff, and there were some who didn't think it was even possible. Well, someone should have told them it was the USA they were talking about. World Cup soccer has arrived when the U.S. national team battles the national team of Trinidad and Tobago in the only World Cup qualifying match to come to California. Saturday, May 13th, noon at El Camino College in Torrance. Coaches, teams, and soccer fanatics, don't miss the action. Don't miss the excitement. Hurry and get your tickets now, as seating for this international soccer spectacular will be extremely limited.
Talk about things you like to do.
Hi, I'm Stuart, one of the 12 young Americans who toss a Caesar salad for you, serve and entertain you 6 nights a week at the Young Americans Dinner Theater. We're in Peters Landing, Huntington Beach, Pacific Coast Highway, next to the Red Onion. We have a brand new show. Come see us. Call us at 840-SHOW. Tell them Caesar sent you. The Young Americans.
Halfway through the race, a 9-rider breakaway. 4 amateurs, 5 professionals, including 7-Eleven's Davis Finney.
What's he, 5 minutes? He is, yeah, but the other guy's like 3.5 minutes. He's with you. Oh, you got the time screen. Yeah. No way, Davis. There's two in here. Just sit. No, but don't you do anything up here.
The final road stage in the Tour de Trump, and Davis Finney in 6th spot would like to move up. He's in a breakaway. Minutes ahead of a chasing field. A brief stop for lunch, and then it's back to work. Arden's going to steal this race on time bonuses. Davis Finney and the others are going to make it hard for him to succeed. Young legs still fresh. And older ones too. But the field at speed will not let this 9-man group get away without a fight. Single file. And into town, they're all together. With only the sprint on 2 circuits of the Richmond course. A huge crowd that lined the streets for 6 miles into town culminates stacked high and wide at the finish line. And up the final grade, it's a sprint. And the man with the rocket legs, Van der Arden, his hand in the air. No one can match the speed of this man.
Eric Van der Arden had again shown the field who was fastest. Hank Lubberding still in 2nd place in support of his wily, powerful teammate.
Aggressive Rider Awards to 2 of his team.
And Lauritsen gets a handshake from the man who the race is named after. Lauritsen still in the lead, Lubberding 2nd, but look at Van der Arden. Now he's only 139 back.
Here's some news the Noid won't like. New Domino's Pan Pizza. Fresh from the oven and delivered in 30 minutes or less, guaranteed. Domino's Pan Pizza. Thick crust, generous toppings, smothered with cheese. Sorry, Noid. Call for new Domino's Pan Pizza. Nobody delivers better.
The Tour de Trump, the best of international cycling brought to America. Endurance, color, and the thrill of winning. You too can be a part of this inaugural American classic with the Tour de Trump souvenir collection. You get this colorful souvenir program, official T-shirt, and hat. A $33 value for the low price of $19.95 plus shipping. To order by credit card, call 1-800-346-9400. That's 1-800-346-9400. Join the excitement of the inaugural Tour de Trump. Call now.
Defending champion Bruce Crampton, golf legend Arnold Palmer, and Super Senior Gigi Rodriguez compete at the St. Christopher's Classic, Saturday and Sunday afternoon, live on ESPN.
It begins in upstate New York and ends by the Jersey Shore. Between 900 miles of championship racing, Tour de Trump, the dawn of an American classic.
You can watch the finale of the Tour de Trump on NBC Sports Sunday, Mother's Day, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time from Atlantic City. Trump Plaza is the locale. The biggest city in the nation, New York, and some smaller ones were visited by this race, and all of them gave us a wonderful welcome at the Tour de Trump. The capital city, seat of government for the state of New York, Albany. That's where we started this Tour de Trump. Skyscrapers, state office buildings in the Empire State Plaza, the legacy of Governor Nelson Rockefeller, and the appropriately named Egg Performing Arts Center. Tourists come from all around the world to witness this phenomenon and the treasures inside. Albany is a city of tradition. They go back to 1686, the nation's oldest chartered city. And you can see it in the buildings, the architecture, and the grandeur of the city of Albany. It's a unique blend of old and new here, so it's fitting that this new tradition, the Tour de Trump bicycle race, would find its home and its start in the capital city of the state of New York. On Thursday, the riders entered the city of Richmond, Virginia, via the famous Monument Avenue, so named because of the statues commemorating Civil War generals that grace this street of beautiful homes. The James River runs just south of downtown. Among the many points of interest, the State Capitol Building, the U.S. Federal Reserve, and 13 Fortune 500 companies call Richmond home. And we had a tour to Richmond, a warm-up for the Tour de Trump. This is the start of Category 2 and 3 races with cyclists from as far away as New Jersey and South Carolina. In the Tour de Richmond, we had nearly 500 riders in 5 races, ranging from novice to Category 2, which is one class below Olympic level. The Tour de Richmond is a very significant race because the winner got the honor of wearing a bright green jersey in the Richmond time trial of the Tour de Trump. Quite a prize for regional riders. And that winner, Cormac McCann from Belfast, Northern Ireland. He now lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. Baltimore was chosen as the site for Saturday's stage because it offers a unique and picturesque setting along the shores of its inner harbor. A criterium demands this kind of winding, fast-paced course that this waterfront setting offers. The race begins on Light Street, traveling south along the west shore of the inner harbor, past the Maryland Science Center and its IMAX Theater. A hairpin turn will take riders back up the boulevard with the harbor and the USS Constellation now on the right. The riders will speed past the National Aquarium, which houses more than 5,000 marine and freshwater animals, and the World Trade Center, home of the top of the world observation level. A sharp left turn then places riders onto Marketplace, site of Baltimore's Fish Market, the city's newest entertainment complex. One more hairpin turn out of Marketplace, and the riders are positioned back to the start-finish line. Beautiful cities, all of them that we visited in the Tour de Trump. Everybody laughed when people said, Tour de Trump? Even Donald Trump himself says he nearly fell off his seat. And yet here there is such a race because thanks mainly to Donald Trump.
Well, you know, he's not single-handedly responsible, but having his name on the event certainly hasn't hurt. There's a fascination about Donald Trump that I think a lot of people came out to see just on the thought that he might be there, in addition to the fact that there was a race that named after him.
True. He's not riding a bicycle, but Donald Trump has been involved in many other sports that we've seen on TV right here in the U.S. The Tour de Trump is only the latest addition to the Trump sports resume, one that includes heavyweight championship boxing and the distinctly American spectacle we call pro wrestling, WrestleMania 5 with Hulk Hogan, and the excitement of speedboat racing. In its first year, the race is the biggest in America, an event named after its cash sponsor.
a little bit taken aback. I fell off my seat, as a matter of fact. They said the Tour de Trump, and I said, you have to be kidding. You just absolutely have to be kidding. But all of a sudden it started to mesh, and NBC came along, and ESPN came along, and it was something that we very much appreciated. And this is now the leading bicycle race in the United States. I had no idea it was going to become this big this quickly. You have the greatest cyclists. You have fabulous communities. The level of support from the various communities. We're going up and down the East Coast, and the level of support is incredible. From New York City, Albany, and Richmond, Virginia, and the Lehigh Valley, and so many other places. It's been unbelievable, far beyond my imagination.
The many thousands of fans coming out to see the race must wonder, what is a Tour de Trump? Foreign riders like Henk Lubberding of Holland may have read about Donald Trump. And what if Soviet Vyacheslav Ekimov wins the $50,000 first prize from a man who's an unknown back in the USSR?
Well, I can guess somewhat. I was introduced to him a couple of days ago at a press conference. But before this race, I never heard of him.
All along these 837 miles, Tour de Trump, the idea that had its namesake flabbergasted, is reality. Fans bear witness to the beginning of an American tradition, a new world-class event.
Bicycle riding generally, in terms of recreation, in terms of shape, is one of the greatest of any sport. I think it might be the greatest of any sport. So it was presented as the Tour de Trump to me. I like the idea. After my initial shock period, I like the idea, and we've done it, and I'm really gratified at how it's turned out. It's been unbelievable.
I think we all would like to have sat in on the meeting between Ekimov and Donald Trump.
Well, I certainly think so, and it's really fascinating that this race has taken off the way it has, with his name on it. I think that's a big part of the success.
Very interesting. We're coming back with more Tour de Trump, so don't go away.
Finding a luxury car whose owners reported fewer problems than Acura Legend owners sounds like a challenge, unless you know about the Mazda 929. It has more standard luxury features than the Legend, like an automatic transmission, alarm system, automatic climate control, and power moonroof. And while we've known this for quite some time, we thought we'd clear the air for you.
Save hundreds on a 929 at your Mazda dealer now. Hurry, ends May 31st.
We're back live at the Iwo Jima Memorial Park, Arlington, Virginia, for coverage of the 1989 Tour de Trump bicycle race. I'm Peter Rogodt, along with Brian Drebber. We've talked about road races. Now we had the time trial in Richmond.
Well, they call it the race of truth, and I think a lot of the riders were really looking forward to finding out just what the truth might have been. Who's the best rider in this race? Never mind teams.
Well, they call it the race of truth. Let's see exactly what happens in the race against the clock.
If the truth is going to be told, it will be told here in a 9-mile time trial. And the Soviet Ekimov, considered by many the best amateur in the world, would like to prove that he's the best rider in the world.
Third place in the field in Normandy, a 1988 Olympic gold medalist in the team pursuit. World champion in 1985, 86, and 87 team pursuit. This is it. Our top Soviet.
He runs the human gauntlet and heads out onto a smooth, mostly flat course that'll suit this powerful, fast rider style. The crowd expects great things of this young Soviet rider with a long list of credentials, including Olympic gold medal. And they get it with the fastest time. The Soviet has served notice on the field that he's the man to beat.
And who would try to outspeed Ekimov? This man.
Had a long day today to break away 9 other riders. One of the pack favorites, one of the crowd favorites, one of the world's top pack sprinters. He's developed into one of the most favorite road racers. First American winner to win a Tour de France road stage.
Davis Phinney from Boulder, Colorado, winner of the 1988 Coors Classic. Phinney has ridden well every day in the Tour de Trump. riding in support of his team leader, Dag Otto Lauritsen, but this is an opportunity where he can make up time without hurting Lauritsen. The time trial, the race of truth, the clock doesn't lie. 18:54 is the time to beat. If Finney beats it, he's better than Ekimov. If not, and his time would not be good enough. Davis Finney, the sprinter, but not today, the time trialist.
Jay, today we're talking Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. Why'd you get one? The FB3 suspension, the new 3.1-liter engine?
Joe, let's go to the replay. The Cutlass Supreme SL beat the new Thunderbird and Cougar in 5 crucial USAC tests, including passing and accelerating.
Boom! Old 5 Ford Zip.
Gotta go with the winner.
Your father's Oldsmobile. This is the new generation of Olds.
Get cash back or 2.9% financing on any new Cutlass Supreme.
Give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball.
You got a thirst.
Give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball.
You know what you need.
Give me the ball.
Fluids and minerals fast.
Give me the ball.
Energy for hard-working muscles. Nothing's better. Give me some of that Gatorade.
The Tour de Trump, the best of international cycling brought to America. Endurance, color, and the thrill of winning. You too can be a part of this inaugural American classic with the Tour de Trump souvenir collection. You get this colorful souvenir program, official t-shirt, and hat. A $33 value for the low price of $19.95 plus shipping. To order by credit card, call 1-800-346-9400. That's 1-800-346-9400. Join the excitement of the inaugural Tour de Trump. Call now.
Here's some news the Noid won't like. New Domino's Pan Pizza. Fresh from the oven and delivered in 30 minutes or less, guaranteed. Domino's Pan Pizza. Thick crust, generous toppings, smothered with cheese. Sorry, Noid. Call for new Domino's Pan Pizza. Nobody delivers better.
We saw Vyacheslav Ekimov of the Soviet Union lay down the best time in the time trial in the early riders. We came down to the final riders, a chance for Eric van der Arden to catch up time on the leader. Now we see if he could do it.
Next up, the favorite. A man who had proven his sprint ability was about to prove his time trial ability. Eric van der Arden, a man on a march to the top. And so far, he's done it with sprint bonuses. But the race of truth would tell whether he is truly the best. So Eric van der Arden, the man of the great sprint, launches onto the course with no teammates to help him. This man is alone. The clock is only enemy. His time trial credentials are proven, and his smooth style doesn't give away the effort that he's making. Stage wins in the Tour de France. Time trial victories all over Europe. The next Eddie Merckx? Many fans think so. Fans here in America didn't know his name a week ago. Now he's become a household word. "35 miles an hour, seemingly effortless. Two miles to go and a turn. Back into the crowd. But before the finish, a long straightaway with the rain-swollen James River in the background. Still powering in, and Ekimov's time is within reach. the finish. And he's got it. 7 seconds better than the Soviet.
And that puts the pressure on this man, Dag Otto Lauritsen, the race leader. You recall his lead over Van der Arden is only 1 minute 39 seconds. Van der Arden in third place. And Van der Arden has said to Lauritsen, beat this time if you can. Lauritsen is a strong rider with indomitable will. He continues to surprise the critics. Doctors said he couldn't ride professionally. Look at what he's doing. They said he wasn't a climber, but he won a mountain stage in the Tour de France 2 years ago. Is there any end to the surprises Lauritsen will show them? Here's one Norwegian who hopes not. Wavering a little on the road. The guardrail on his left. The time trial is all about pain, finding a level you can withstand, and then going a little harder. Lauritsen's team has sheltered him in the weak stages. Van der Arden has caught up every day. Now Lauritsen is on his own. Is he worthy of the race lead? Coming up the final straightaway, we find out. And the answer is no. 1926. Van der Arden has beaten him soundly, but Lauritsen does still hold the race lead. But look at that. Van der Arden now only 1 minute back. Davis Phinney, he lost a lot of time. He's 4:15 back.
Comcast and the Disney Channel say hooray for Hollywood in May. It's a month-long celebration of the land called Tinseltown, featuring some of the finest films ever produced, plus two very special tributes. Host Henry Fonda takes a look back at the classics of the silver screen in Hollywood, the Fabulous Era, and then salutes the leading legends of the big screen in Hollywood, the Great Stars. It's a nostalgic look at the golden age of motion pictures on Comcast and the Disney Channel. Watch us now.
Anniversary.
You think we were riding too fast?
Didn't seem that fast.
Maybe we just look fast.
Some of us look faster than others.
Howdy.
Is there something wrong, officer?
Road's closed ahead.
It's 30 miles back. We've ridden 30 miles?
Doesn't feel like 30.
Not even sweating.
What are we going to do?
I know a road.
Hey, son, take the high road.
Tennis. The French Open. May 29th. Live on ESPN.
I'm Bob Lee. Sports Center, 11:30 Eastern Time tonight. The Bucks and the Pistons grounded out once again. Bruce Hurst and Dwight Gooden in a classic pitching matchup. And also tonight, circumstances around Bob Wade. A change at Maryland. Chris Berman and I, 11:30. We'll see you then.
We're live from Iwo Jima Memorial Park in Arlington, Virginia, our continuing coverage of the inaugural edition of the Tour de Trump bicycle race. One of the great things about cycling, the expressions, the terms, they have such lore behind them. Brian Drebber, one of them is the broom wagon.
Well, the broom wagon, you know, if you have to quit a race, which is what the broom wagon is there for, I can't think of a more enjoyable way to finish up the ride. I mean, what starts on a down note certainly ends on an up.
Well, let's take a look at just what the broom wagon is, its significance in cycling, and the man who drives the broom wagon. The broom wagon. The metaphor being that it sweeps the riders off the road, those who can't finish the race, too sick, too tired, too beaten. Its driver is Barney Brewer.
I've never seen the end of a race in 5 years. We're always at the last. And so it was kind of a thankless job that nobody wanted, and I manufactured and invented the bike cover that for transporting a cycle on top of a car. And there was a spot there for our marketing that nobody seemed to want, and so I took it over, and now I've become, you know, semi-famous in that I do the brooming for a number of races around the country.
The Broom Wagon. It's part bike shop, part kitchen, part hospital. And Barney himself is a little bit of marketing man on the move for the bike race called Tour de Trump.
Hey fans, thanks a lot for coming out. Hey, did you enjoy those guys? They're animals, aren't they? God, they're terrible. See ya. Bye-bye.
The Broom Wagon. There's not a competitive rider alive who hasn't spent time in one. The Broom Wagon. A rider's worst nightmare, but something that adds humor and warmth to their worst moments. Of course, some riders don't go very far before they hit their Waterloo and need a broom wagon. Safe to say Brian was not hurt, and he's a good sport for laughing at that piece of tape. We're joined live now by Mike Plant, the race director of the Tour de Trump. Obvious question, Mike. Is the race a success in your eyes? Will it be back next year?
Well, I think Greg LeMond, Davis Finney, and many of the American teams that are here have expressed their satisfaction with the organization, and also the results and the competitive parts of the race have been very successful from our standpoint, so we're very, very happy.
Will it be back next year?
As far as I'm concerned, I'd like to see it become one of the best races in the world, and I think Peter Post and Jan Giesper from PDM Panasonic have expressed the same sentiments.
The commissioner of weather for the Tour de Trump made the Europeans feel right at home. Does that have something to do with the popularity of this race so far for them?
Well, unfortunately, Brian, as you well know, that's probably the only flaw we've had so far, and it's the organization's been very solid, and the weather is something that maybe we'll try to work on a little bit next year in controlling.
It's hard to imagine this race more successful under the sunshine.
Well,
Mike, thanks very much for joining us. We hope to be back here next May talking to you about a second Tour de Trump. We'll be back with the last segment, the last race in the Tour de Trump up to now, so please stay with us. We'll be back live from Arlington.
Jay, today we're talking Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. Why'd you get one? The FB3 suspension, the new 3.1-liter engine?
Joe, let's go to the replay. The Cutlass Supreme SL beat the new Thunderbird and Cougar in 5 crucial USAC tests, including passing and acceleration.
Boom! Old 5 Ford Zip!
Gotta go with the winner.
Your father's Oldsmobile. This is the new generation of Olds.
Get cash back or 2.9% financing on any new Cutlass Supreme.
What do you have? Give me 2 pizza puffs, chili dog. Excuse me. Gus. 1 minute. Sorry. Give me 2 pizza puffs, a chili dog, a large. Hey, Lord. Gus, I told you, to be hot dog kings, we need lots of Bud Light. Not Bull Light?
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Now what do you think? It's beautiful.
Because everything else is just a light.
Hey, what about my pizza puffs?
It's raining in the nation's capital, but we've got a canopy overhead. Peter Rogat along with Brian Dreber as we bring you our final ESPN show on the 1989 Tour de Trump. Up till now, one significant development, no American has won a road stage until today's race in the Tour de Trump. We don't count the prologue as an official stage, and that was something the Americans were very conscious of.
Well, you know, the Americans really haven't had very much luck, and I think they look to try to turn it around. It took them a while to build all the pieces together to figure out what the race was all about and who their competition was, and they began getting it together towards the end. More success as we went along.
Well, there was some of that success today. We don't want to give it away all in a moment right now. We do want to show you the race. It was a circuit race in Arlington, and it was quite an exciting race, as we say, with American expectations very high. Stage number 8, the Arlington Circuit Race. Davis Finney, frustrated from previous seconds and thirds, had his work cut out for him.
We got to forget about that. We got this lead that's slowly getting chipped away, and we just got to go out there and race bikes and be aggressive. I just don't want to see another field sprint with Van Aerten winning. You know, I just don't want to see it.
Craig Schomer not feeling so well, though. Our sprint leader, ill, but he did ride with the others in Arlington.
On the rollout, the whole field together. And right at the front, the riders wearing all the special jerseys, including Schomer, the sprint leader, the mountain leader, and the many different categories that are involved in the Tour de Trump. As usual, there were early breakaways, and none of them really succeeded. The field rolling past a large crowd that had gathered on a closed-off roadway in Memorial Park. The early breakaways, and there were many, as I said before, were unsuccessful, although each rider trying to grab a moment of glory with a stage win in front of the crowds. Halfway through the race, a sprint bonus, a time bonus, very, very important, especially for Dag Otto Lauritsen, and in his pink jersey, he sprints across the line behind teammate Davis Finney to take 10 seconds and give himself a little breathing room. Towards the end of the race, the field all regrouped again, waiting for the final sprint. Colombian fans, not much for them to cheer about in a race that's been so flat. And a little bit later on in the race, a Swedish rider and a U.S. Olympian, Mike McCarthy from New York City. He's a week from home. And on the sidelines, Davis Finney's wife, Connie, an Olympic gold medalist in 1984. Jan Tunis in the King of the Mountain jersey. No mountains on this course. And the whole PDM team towing along the bunch. The pace quickens towards the finish. A word at the back. Sean Yates and Andy Hansen of 7-Eleven. Working hard for race leader Dag Otto Lauritsen. And then the sprint. At the front, Coors Light's big, strong man, Michael Zanoli. But on the outside, Davis Finney. And right next to him, Van der Arden, who was nipped at the line by Greg LeMond. Davis Finney finally brings the American hopes home with a victory and a hug.
How sweet it is to win a stage in the Tour de Trump. Davis Finney, Zanoli, and Greg LeMond is third. Van der Arden was fourth. The next five, Lauritsen, Bowmans, Farmer, Tomac, and Thomas Craven. Look at the Americans. Here are the overall results now after 8 stages. Lauritsen, 28 seconds up on Lubberding. Van der Arden, 110 back. Tunis and Finney, 340 back. Steeda, Newlands, Piper, and look at all the 7-Eleven riders. Andy Hampsten. And we are joined live now by 2 members of the 7-Eleven team, the race leader, Dag Otto Lauritsen of Norway, and Davis Finney, winner of today's stage. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. The question, obviously, to you, Dag, can you hold the lead through Sunday?
Yeah, I think so. We did a good work today, all of us. The team is working very strong for me, and I gained some seconds on Van der Arden instead of losing 30, 40 seconds as I did before.
You have a time trial Sunday, 24 miles. You lost significant time to Van der Arden yesterday. Can you do better in the longer time trial?
Normally I'm better in the longer time trial, and yesterday I had bad legs in the morning and in the afternoon. Today I felt much better, so I am confident for Sunday.
Davis, I have to ask you, I know sometimes it seems like the fate of Western civilization rests on your shoulders until you get a stage win. You have to be a little bit relieved now.
Oh, I feel so good, believe me, Brian. It's been a long, hard race, and I just wasn't quite getting it. It was coming and coming in second, third, fourth, but today felt so good, and I think all of us on 7-Eleven felt just really strong today. I mean, yesterday was a bad day, and we just put it behind ourselves, and boom, we went out there, and it was a real morale boost for the whole team.
Dag, 2 days to go, and I think, you know, with just a few miles left, time is running out for Eric Van der Arden and certainly Frank Lubberding as well. The Panasonics, what can they do in the Criterium on tomorrow?
Panasonic is a very strong team, and they've done very good so far. So, of course, if Van der Arden wins tomorrow, he takes 30 new seconds. But I think my team is strong too. So the whole 7-Eleven team is going to try to avoid Van der Arden from winning.
Let me ask both you gentlemen your opinions of the Tour de Trump. It is the first truly European-style stage race with only 1 criterium and 1 circuit race. Would you like to see this race continue here? Would you like to see more of them in the U.S., Don?
Definitely. I love to race in America. I love the crowd here, and this race has been very good. As Greg LeMond said, it's a first-class race for us riders.
Davis? Excellent race. Unbelievable. For a first-time event, the response has been fabulous. The crowds and the support and the media support, it's just been wonderful. I don't think we ever expected anything like this, and there's no question that we'd like to see this just get bigger and better in the future.
Well, hopefully it will. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here. Do well tomorrow and Sunday, and we hope to talk with you again next May at the Tour de Trump. All right, the American standings after today. Stage 8, Davis Phinney in 5th, Hampsten in 10th, Kiefel, Engelman, the only non-711 rider in those top 13, Steve Tilford of Wheaties 10th, Bostic the amateur, and Gary Mulder of Celestial Seasonings. The Americans 5th through 21st, but again, we got our first stage win from an American rider today in Arlington, and that was Davis Phinney. We'll return with more of the Tour de Trump live from Arlington on ESPN, so please don't go away.
Here's some news the Noid won't like. New Domino's Pan Pizza. Fresh from the oven and delivered in 30 minutes or less, guaranteed. Domino's Pan Pizza. Thick crust, generous toppings, smothered with cheese. Sorry, Noid. Call for new Domino's Pan Pizza. Nobody delivers better.
Jay, today we're talking Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. Why'd you get one? The FB3 suspension, the new 3.1-liter engine?
Joe, let's go to the replay. The Cutlass Supreme SL beat the new Thunderbird and Cougar in 5 crucial USAC tests, including passing and accelerate.
Boom! Old 5 Ford Zip!
Gotta go with the winner.
Your father's Oldsmobile. This is the new generation of Olds.
Get cash back or 2.9% financing on any new Cutlass Supreme.
It begins in upstate New York and ends by the Jersey Shore. Between 900 miles of championship racing, Tour de Trump, the dawn of an American classic.
Final action from the Tour de Trump on NBC Sports this Sunday, Mother's Day, 3 to 5 Eastern Daylight Time from Trump Plaza in Atlantic City. We've gone about 760 miles. We have about 70 more in the Tour de Trump. Brian Dreber, your thoughts on the action we've seen in this week, in this inaugural edition of the Tour de Trump?
Well, the action has been great. You know, bicycle racing is something that's always produces great competition and so on. But I think the real lasting impressions for me out on the roadway have been little kids standing on the side of the road waving flags, and you know, people just everywhere. They've come out of their homes. They've come to the race. This race was put where the people are, and the people responded by coming out to it. And, you know, within that framework, the competition was superb, and I think will continue to be.
And no doubt we will see similar to what we saw in 1984, when after the Olympic victories by Americans, I think Americans flocked to the bike shops and bought bicycles.
Well, you know, even after the races in each town, when we were sort of wrapping things up and you know, getting interviews towards the end and whatnot, you would see people out riding their bike. And, you know, to my eye, I think an experienced eye, I could tell that maybe some of those people hadn't ridden those bikes for a while.
But they weren't crashing into cars, were they?
Well, hey,
no.
Come on, lighten up.
All right, well, let's put Brian on the line here. Who will win the Tour de Trump? Can Van der Arden make up more than a minute? Can Lumberdink make up the slightly more than 20 seconds? Or will Dag Otto Lauritsen maintain his lead and 7-11 claim a victory in this first race?
Well, you know, I think I have to go back to what we said at the open of the show, and that is that because there are only some 75 miles or so of racing yet to go, and one of those races is a criterium where team tactics, I think, you know, are going to be difficult to really employ. There's not enough breathing room out there to gather a lot of time. The individual time trial, Dag Otto said that a long time trial tends to favor his smooth, powerful style. It's going to be tough. But I'll tell you what, I really don't want to miss a moment of what's coming up in the next 2 days, because it is really going to go down to the wire. Van der Arden is a class act.
Well, the cities are Baltimore and Atlantic City. Folks who come out to the race courses there will see sensational action. Otherwise, as we mentioned, you can see the finale on NBC on Sunday. The inaugural Tour de Trump bicycle race. People laughed when they first heard about it. It is reality. It has gone through the greatest American city, New York, and many smaller, lovely cities, and they have enjoyed the action as well. It's raining cats and dogs here. We're going to get in out of the rain. For Brian Drebber, I'm Peter Rogat saying so long from Arlington. The 1989 Tour de Trump was brought to you by the new generation of Oldsmobile. Step into the future now at your Oldsmobile dealer. By Domino's Pizza Incorporated. Hot, fresh, delicious pan pizza. Nobody delivers better. And by AT&T, from equipment to networking, from computers to communications. AT&T, the right choice.
Month on Muscle Magazine, it's the Orange County Championship with coverage of some of the prettiest and beefiest bodybuilders in the country. We'll join over 3,000 fans as they cheered the night away. Then